one of the college football season. And there are big games across the board Saturday afternoon, Saturday midday, Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday night that we are going to get to. Starting off with the biggest opening week one game in the history of this great sport known as college football.
And I love that this game is happening in Columbus. It's not a neutral site game.
Good point.
It's in Columbus, which for me only adds to the magnitude of this. It is a rematch of last year's college football playoff in which Ohio State won. But you also have Arch Manning entering his first full season as the starting quarterback for Texas because Quinn Ewers is now a Miami Dolphin. You have, I forget the name of the starting quarterback for Ohio. Julian Staten, thank you. He played sparingly last season, basically in a mop-up role. He's starting his first game for Ohio State because Will Howard is now a Pittsburgh Steeler. A lot of the guys who were on Texas and Ohio State are now in the NFL. You know, you mentioned Matthew Golden. He's now a Packer. Plus, on top of that, this is Lee Corso's final game on College Game Day. He will be making his final headgear pick this Saturday in Columbus. Texas, Ohio State, number 1 against number 3. I don't know what else you could say. This game is unbelievable.
You mentioned a bunch of guys, including Isaiah Bond, who just signed with the Browns on Texas, both Ohio State running backs, Quinyon Junkins, Travion Anderson. Obviously, Will Howard is no longer there.
Jack Sawyer is no longer there.
In Jigba, the wide receiver that got drafted by Tampa Bay is no longer there.
You're thinking of Emeka Egbuka.
So there's going to be some changes for both teams. I'm going to ask one simple question, though, that I think this game boils down to. It's not even the location. It's not even the fact they're in Columbus. It's not even the fact that it's August 30th and we're trying to get all these new pieces in and all that. I think this game comes down to, are we sure Arch Manning is really good? I'm serious. Like, think about this for a second. Arch Manning could not beat out Quinn Ewers, who was originally projected to be a first-round pick when the season started and then got drafted in the 7th round by the Miami Dolphins. Quarterbacks taking over him include Will Howard, Kyle McCord. I mean, the fact that Arch Manning, Dylan Gabriel, obviously Shedeur, Cam Ward, the fact that Arch entered in last year. Remember, Quinn Ewers had some injury and Arch Manning came in. He played okay, not great. But the fact that Texas went back to Quinn Ewers, who could barely complete passes in the preseason for the Dolphins this year against basically firemen out there on the defense side of the ball. Are we sure that Arch Manning is just not in name only and that he's not yet a great quarterback? Because we've heard all these conversations about, oh, Trevor Lawrence is the next guy. How's that working out? Oh, Caleb Williams, he's so amazing. How did he look last year as a rookie? I'm hearing the same thing about Arch Manning, and I'm here to say, let's pump the brakes.
We're going to learn a lot about Arch Manning this Saturday when he goes against Ohio State in Columbus. Again, I wish this game was happening in prime time with Kirk Herbstreit and Reese Davis or Chris Fowler on the call. But that's not the case.
It's going to be Gus Johnson and Joe Klatt at the Ohio State Buckeyes, as Gus Johnson would say.
Yes, both Big Noon Kickoff and College Game Day will be at this game. So that tells you the importance of it.
What's your feel for this? So, again, I know I don't ask a lot of gambling questions. I'm not asking if they cover or not. Ohio State is favored by 2.5. Should that piss Texas off that they are an underdog as the number 1 seed? It's the first time ever a week 1 team has been an underdog as the number 1 seed.
I mean, to be fair, Ohio State is at home, and they are the defending national champions. So, is it really disrespectful towards Texas? I don't think so. I truly don't think it's disrespect towards Texas. I think it's more the odds makers saying, you know what? Ohio State is the defending champions. They are playing at home. They should be favored, even though they're the number 3 team in the country. Which I'm actually surprised Ohio State is ranked number 3 because they lost so much of that national championship team and they're breaking in a new quarterback.
Their roster is still loaded, and by the way, they still have who I believe today would be a top 3 wide receiver in the National Football League playing on their team in Jeremiah Smith.
Yes. I have a feeling a lot of the passes on Saturday from Julian, how do you say it? Julian Slayton?
Julian Satan.
Like Satan if you get dragged down. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I have a feeling a lot of Julian Satan's passes are going to go towards Jeremiah Smith. So if you're Texas, do you potentially not double team him? But
it is Satan. My bad. Satan.
Okay, Satan. But if you're Texas, do you not necessarily double team him, but have a safety over the top so that he's not getting one-on-one coverage?
I mean, you would think. I actually, though, don't think there's going to be a lot of explosive plays in this game. I think I could see 1 or 2 ways of this game going. I think it's going to be one way, could be very similar to the college football semifinal game where it's like 20-17, 17-14, a little bit defensive. These 2 offenses trying to get into gear. The other thing I could see is, believe it or not, an Ohio State rout. I'm talking like 31-7. Texas is completely uncompetitive. Arch Manning is completely overwhelmed. They can't block the Ohio State defensive line. And we're going to learn, I think you're right, we're going to learn a lot about Arch in this game because I'm not sold on him yet. I've been fooled on Trevor Lawrence before. I hope I'm right on Caleb Williams. We'll see this year. But I keep hearing about, all of these great college quarterbacks, and they come to the NFL and they, can't play. So,
yeah. This is actually the first time Texas is playing at Ohio State since Saturday, September 10th, 2005, which they won that game 25-22.
Interesting. Well, let's talk about the game then at 3:30 on ABC on Saturday between number 8 Alabama and Florida State. Now, Alabama, they do have a new quarterback this year. Obviously, Jalen Milroe has left for the NFL in Ty Simpson. This is now going to be Caleb DeVore's second year in Alabama, replacing Nick Saban. It was a little bit of a rocky first year for Alabama, just missing out on the CFP. But again, if you're like me and you think Texas may be not as good as some people think, I don't know if they should be the number 1 rated team in the country. You still have Georgia up there with Kirby Smart. This, to me, does feel like in Caleb DeVore's second year, a rebound year for Alabama, especially on the defense side of the ball. Very similar to how Nick Saban did his second year at the program. I think Alabama makes a statement here. I think they squash Florida State.
I think this is going to be a very interesting game. I like that Alabama is starting the season on the road in a hostile environment, Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee. I know a lot of people thought College Game Day would be here because Corso loves Florida State. But again, that's not what's happening. Nonetheless, though, I'll be curious to see what Florida State looks like this season. They want to be taken seriously as a contender in the ACC alongside the likes of Clemson, Miami, SMU, maybe North Carolina, depending on what Bill Belichick does there. If you want to be taken seriously, how about you start by knocking off Alabama in your home stadium?
It would be a little bit of a shocker for me. This is the game where I think Alabama puts on a fireworks show. Kalen DeVore, second year, offensive-minded head coach, comes out with a bunch of new tricks. Ryan Williams, basically a similar receiver to what Jeremiah Smith has done at Ohio State. I think he has another great year for Alabama, and I think that this is the start of Alabama once again being in contention for the SEC championship. They may not be as dominant as they were under Saban, but that brand, I believe, is still very strong. I don't think that they're going to go under. I believe that they are going to compete for the SEC championship this year.
You would think so, but who knows? Because you still, in the SEC, you still have Tennessee. You still have Ole Miss. We'll see what Oklahoma looks like this season. They could.
I'm not a big fan of Brent Venables. I know they knocked off Alabama last year. That was the worst game I ever seen Jalen Milroe play or any Alabama quarterback play for the first time in a long time. But Oklahoma doesn't have the offensive firepower, I believe, to keep up with these legitimate teams in the SEC.
Well, they get to host Michigan next week.
Which, by the way, I've been talking about this forever. I love the fact that college football is making week 1, week 2, etc. events. You know, it's not cupcake city for every team the first 3 weeks of the season, where the college football season really doesn't start until the middle of October. Like, I would have even loved it even more if we were under the old playoff format. I mean, could you imagine Texas against Ohio State? And if you lose that game, you're basically out of the playoff week 1.
Yeah. As a Penn State fan, I don't like that we're starting the season with Nevada. Like, really? We could have scheduled a game against Tennessee or, I don't know, Florida. But nope, let's go with Nevada.
Now, this one's really interesting. This will be the night game with Fowler and Herb Street on Saturday night between number 9 LSU, led by Brian Kelly, number 4 Clemson, led by Dabo Swinney. What am I missing about Clemson this year? But how did they go from 16-4?
Because people believe in Cade Klubnik as their starting quarterback. And this Clemson team, they are projected to be just that good. This is a rematch of the 2019 National Championship down in New Orleans, where Joe Burrow just went bonkers and LSU routed Clemson.
That was the greatest college football team of all time. I don't care what anybody says.
Yes, Clemson was not going to win that game. This is the Tiger Bowl. This is the Battle of Death Valleys, because LSU's stadium is also called Death Valley, as is
you're
Clemson.
right.
Let's see. I don't get the Clemson hype. Well, no. LSU is not going to roll. LSU has struggled in week 1. I believe
every year Brian Kelly's been there. Haven't they had this like Sunday or Saturday night big TV game and lost every year?
Yeah, I think they're like, overall, they're 0-6 in their last week 1 games. But
wow, I didn't know that, because Kelly, this is what, year 3 now for Kelly?
I want to say year 4, and I believe they might be
Well, no, because Lincoln's only been at USC for 3 or 4 years. They came in at the same time.
I
believe this is year 4. The one year I remember they lost to a bad Florida State team on the Sunday night.
Yeah. So, yeah. Brian Kelly is 0-2 in week 1.
So this is his 3rd year. I was right.
Well, that was entering the 2024 season.
Okay. So this is year 4.
Yeah. So, and they have not won a week 1 game in that time.
Yeah, I don't know about this Klubnik either for Clemson. And Dabo hasn't really won anything since Deshaun Watson, ironically enough. They have used the transfer portal a little bit more in the past, though not as much as they really should. And to me, they don't have the talent of Ohio State or a Texas or even a Penn State or an Alabama or a Georgia. Like when I think of Clemson, I don't think of them before I think of any of those teams I just mentioned to you, and I don't take the ACC seriously really at all. I think that
I think it's only a matter of time before the ACC folds, and you're probably going to see Clemson in the SEC. I think you'll see like North Carolina, Duke, probably in the Big 12, Virginia and Virginia Tech, probably in the Big 10.
Oh, I think eventually we're going to get to a space where we're just going to have the two conferences, the
I don't
SEC
think
and
the
the Big Ten.
I don't think the Big 12 is going anywhere.
Well, they should. I'll put it to you that way. The Big 12 is a joke.
Yeah.
If you thought the Big 12 was a joke before, look at it now. I mean, who's in it? Basically, who? Arizona?
Yeah, Arizona, Utah.
Boise State, I believe.
No, Boise State's not in it.
Oh, did they stay in the mountain? I thought they were a part of that restructure for some reason.
They might be in the new Pac-12, but they're not in the Big 12.
Okay.
Yeah, you have like Houston, UCF, Cincinnati, BYU, Arizona, Arizona State.
Oh, that's right. Boise State did win the Mountain West Conference last year, and then they got clocked.
Yeah, by Penn State.
With our favorite running back, Ashton Genty.
Yes.
But this game to me, I don't know. Doesn't it feel like a weird game, like a 16-13 defensive, like what the hell was going on here game?
Yeah, but I could also see a scenario where Clemson just rolls. Unlike what Lucky is saying, I could see a scenario where it's Clemson who rolls.
So educate me, if you will, as well on Miami, Florida's new quarterback, because they're still ranked 10. Cam Ward is obviously not there anymore. Notre Dame being 6. Like, listen, they had a good run last year. They obviously made the national championship game. They've recovered nicely since Brian Kelly left. You know, a lot of people thought that they weren't going to be as good with Marcus Freeman. Turns out Marcus Freeman's a really good recruiter. But again, I felt like Notre Dame got a cupcake ride last year in the national championship game. They faced a team with a bunch of injuries. They didn't really have to go through big competition. Like, they're not, I don't care about the fact they're independent and all of this. They're not on the same level as the best teams in the Big Ten and the SEC. They really need to join the Big Ten, if you ask me.
Yeah, they do. But they're going to continue refusing and saying, we're Notre Dame. We're better independently. You know what's funny, though, is Brian Kelly left Notre Dame to go to LSU because he wanted to win, like, national championships and stuff. And he hasn't even gotten LSU to the college football playoff, and yet Notre Dame was in the college football national championship last year.
Yeah. Brian Kelly has made himself look like a fool. Let's be honest. And Notre Dame is laughing at him. Now, Notre Dame, obviously, Riley Leonard is not there anymore, quarterback. So we got 2 new quarterbacks. By the way, Riley Leonard, I believe he was either taken in the same round or right before Quinn Ewers as well. We're talking about quarterbacks that were taken before Quinn there in that draft. So, you know, we'll see. These are 2 new quarterbacks. To me, these are like fringe college football playoff teams that are like not serious championship contenders. Like, there's no hype around this team for me.
No. Although they do have a long-standing rivalry, Miami and Notre Dame. It's like Catholics versus convicts. There's like a whole documentary about it.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, Josh. I am more fired up for what's going to happen on Sunday night on Big Brother to see who's going to win head of household than I am to watch this game.
Yeah, Carson Beck is the starting quarterback.
That's right. I keep forgetting about Carson Beck, the old Georgia Wonder, who, of course, quarterbacked those 2 back-to-back national championship teams, and then basically had Carson Wentz for a year, basically gave himself CTE. And now, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. He doesn't really fit the Miami, Florida style of offense, but.
Yeah, I mean, I'll watch this game, but am I high on either one of these teams? No.
And then we get to what I am actually looking forward to the most, I want to watch this. I think this is going to be the most entertaining game potentially of the weekend, even if they get smashed, because Bill Belichick and his team that who knows may or may not be led by his girlfriend who has applied for a trademark of gold digger for a bit. I mean, what the hell? I don't even know. Bill's got some quarterback who was a transfer, I guess, from Alabama State who's running around. He can make some plays. But I mean, this North Carolina roster is not good. They're nowhere near Clemson's level. They're nowhere near Miami Florida level. I mean, could Belichick come out and shock the world? Maybe. I don't know how it's going to go this year. Like, this to me really feels like a Deion Sanders Colorado situation. Like, the first year, everybody's going to get hyped about it, and they're going to end up winning like 4 games.
Yeah. By the way, this is going to be the Aer Lingus game in Ireland next season. They did announce that.
Wait, this game, TCU in North Carolina?
Yes.
So Bill Belichick, we'll see if he's back in the NFL by that point, which is a possibility. But there's a possibility Bill Belichick may be coaching a game in Ireland. Oh my God!
I know, right? But like, I think the North Carolina starting quarterback's last name is Perez or something.
Something along those lines, yeah.
But
he's left-handed. That I know about him, and I only know that about him from the college football video game. I'll be honest.
Okay. TCU like went on that crazy run a couple years ago and then got absolutely destroyed by Georgia.
Max Duggan, who of course was drafted by the Chargers and then cut immediately in the preseason and never heard of again.
Yes. You know, TCU had that crazy game with Michigan in the college football playoff semifinals. And then Georgia just said, you are not on our level. Go away. That season, the national championship was that Georgia-Ohio State game that literally ended right when the ball dropped.
What do we think would be considered a successful year for Belichick? Is it 8-4? Is it the college football playoff? I mean, like, what are the expectations for North Carolina?
I mean, I'll look up North Carolina's schedule right now.
The only real hard game they have is, I believe, they have to go to Clemson.
No, they host Clemson.
Okay, they host Clemson. I know they played Clemson, but that, I believe, is one of, they may have one other ranked team in their schedule, but I know it's relatively doable.
Yeah, like they play TCU this week, then they're at Charlotte, they host Richmond, and then they're at UCF. And then they host Clemson. And then, I don't really see any other hard game on their schedule besides Clemson, really.
Here's the thing about Belichick is even before this whole NIL stuff took over, remember Nick Saban's last 4 or 5 years at Alabama, even though he was a defensive coach, they had a great offense. They couldn't stop a nosebleed. So is Belichick going to be this defensive guru? Like, I don't know. Can Belichick win shootouts in college football? Because I think he may have to. That's going to be my question.
Yeah. Am I going to take North Carolina seriously if they win this game against TCU? No, it's not going to change my opinion. Now, if they beat Clemson, that'll change my opinion. But no, I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, it depends on what their record is when they get there.
Yeah. I mean, if they like I said, after TCU, they play at Charlotte, they play Richmond, and at UCF.
Richmond.